kind of peek in and they're like, ooh, we have a sub. I have had students be super disrespectful, talking back, not following directions. Hey y'all, I'm Brianna and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be telling you guys what it's really like to be a substitute teacher. So I've been subbing middle school and high school for about 2 months now as an in-between job while I get my career/life together. So normally all the videos on my channel have been about curly hair with a couple of travel vlogs, but I really want to start doing different types of content, talking about subbing and other things that I'm doing. So just to get straight into it, this is what my experience subbing has been like. As I was in a transitional phase of my career and of my life, I needed something that I could just make some quick money while I figure out what I want to do. And so my cousin is an elementary school teacher and she recommended that I become a substitute teacher. It was something that had never occurred to me as an option or that I even ever thought about. After finishing high school, I did not ever plan on returning, but it turns out that this seemed like the perfect thing for me in this period of my life. And so I sub in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I applied to sub at the school district that I went to school from kindergarten through 12th grade. And so the application process was actually pretty simple. It was the standard resume and 3 references. Where I'm subbing, if you have a bachelor's degree, you get paid slightly more, but you are able to apply if you're in the process of completing your degree, and I think you have to be at least a sophomore or junior. And so basically I applied and was pretty much instantly hired. And so the requirements for my school district before I could actually get into the classroom and sub were that I complete an entire 8-hour day of safety training. And so basically I applied, went to safety training, which included things like what to do if there is a fire, shelter in place, and even today with the current climate, I had to learn about what to do if there was an active shooter. And so after going through all of these school districts' policies and safety trainings, then I was cleared to do the next step. So the next step was that I had to get 6 hours of classroom observation, which is literally just sitting in a classroom and watching a teacher teach. And so I did 3 hours, and this is unpaid, by the way. And so I did 3 hours at the middle school level, at the middle school that I actually went to, and then 3 hours at the high school level. And after that, I was cleared to get my staff ID, get my staff parking pass, and I was cleared to start picking up subbing shifts. So getting hired was pretty easy. I think the entire process from when I applied all the way to after the training and the observations took maybe 2.5 weeks. And so that, also fingerprints. So another step I had to do was I had to get fingerprinted just for a background check. And so after all that was complete, then I was able to finally start subbing. So now that I was hired, it was time to get into the classroom. So the school district that I sub for uses an online system where you can log in with your substitute staff ID and you can see all the different sub shifts available. And so the shifts will show you the school, the subject, the date, the teacher, and whether it was for a half or full day. And so I personally only wanted to sub middle school and high school. I knew that I didn't want to do any lower levels, and so I was able to only see shifts for grades 7 through 12, and basically you just click accept and you got the job. And so one of the things I really do like about subbing is the flexibility, how you can decide whether you want to work, if the shifts are available, whether you want to work 5 days a week, 4 days, 3 days. So this can really be something that's full-time or part-time depending on what you make of it. And so my school district requires that you sub at least 3 times a month in order to stay active, which isn't too bad. I started subbing at the end of the school year in May, and so there were tons of sub shifts available. I think every day there were at least 90 to 100 teachers who needed a sub, and oftentimes when I would go into sub, they would tell me that they had 20 to 30 teachers call in. So subbing towards the end of the school year was definitely, there was always availability to pick up a shift. Okay, so now the interesting part of subbing, getting to the school. So I guess I'll just start from like the beginning to the end of a typical day and really what it's like to be a sub. And so I do middle school or high school, so that depends on my start time. My school district requires that subs show up 30 minutes before school starts. So if I sub high school, here school starts at 7:25, I report at 6:55, and middle school starts at 8:45, so I report at 8:15. And so when you first get into the school, you'll go to the front office. There's usually is a sign-in sheet to check in with whoever oversees the subs, and then they'll hand you a folder and send you off to your classroom. You'll go to your classroom and basically just see what you're doing for the day. So the thing about subbing is you never know what your day is going to be like. You might have, depending on the schedule. So for high school, they have 4 classes a day and it switches between A day, B day every other day. And so I could come in and have 2 classes to sub for and have 2 conference periods where I basically just have nothing to do and still get paid for it. Or I could have 4 classes in a row where I'm constantly subbing all day long and I only get my lunch period. So you really don't know until you open your folder and see what you're doing for the day and what that teacher that you're covering for, what their schedule is like. And so in the folder, it has all the information. It will tell me the teacher's class schedule, the bell schedule. It will have attendance sheets, a copy for me to keep and a copy to give to the attendance office. It has school maps, principals, phone numbers, disciplinary referrals if you have to write those, which I actually haven't had to write one yet, and just a bunch of information in the folder. So the most important things are the class rosters that you need to take attendance with and the teacher's schedule. So you know, okay, from this time to this time, I have this class and then I have a break here. My class is in this room. Sometimes you'll have to switch rooms, and so it's important to know whether your teacher stays in the same room all day or if you'll have to sprint in the middle of passing period to get to the next class. And so everything will be in this folder, and then when you get to the classroom, you unlock it, get the lights turned on. Usually, I would say 9 out of 10 times, the teacher will have everything laid out on the desk, because there will be a handwritten note or a typed note that will detail the substitute plans. This is what I have this period, pass this out, they're watching a movie, it's right here. And so it usually will detail exactly what I'm doing, and also any specific notes, like at 10:30, this student has to go take their medicine. This student, you should watch out for them because they like to do, etc. So usually they'll leave a note just of anything that is important for me to know, and all of the worksheets or whatever they're working on will be right there on the desk. And so usually it's pretty simple. You just read the directions, you have 30 minutes to prepare for your first class, and then you just verbatim do what the teacher told you to do. So now on to the students. Yes, the lovely students. The students in which I am often mistaken for. So I'm a pretty young substitute. I'm 23 years old. I graduated college last year, and I have inevitably almost every day of me subbing have been asked, how old am I? Did I graduate high school? Am I in college? Am I 16 years old? And often been mistaken as a student. Just last week, I was walking to my class to sub, and this was in an area where students weren't allowed to go yet until the bell rang, and I got asked where was my hall pass by a teacher, and then she quickly realized after seeing my badge, I was not a student. I was a sub. And so at first it was kind of annoying and kind of just like, why do you guys keep asking about my age? And this is mostly students. So I've never been asked by a teacher or by any staff how old I was, but the students often do ask me how old I am. And so at first it was something that was kind of annoying and pestering, but I've gotten used to it. It's kind of like one of those things that you can't control, like you know it's going to happen. And so the students often do ask how old I am. They also sometimes ask other questions like, am I married? And what high school did I go to? And just random questions like that. And so I found that it's easy to just quickly deflect from those and make sure that you get back on topic, because they will just keep asking you question after question and it is never ending. And so the students are, of course, what make every day different, what makes subbing good and bad. And so just quickly about the students and what my interactions have been like subbing. So overall, it's been fine. I would say 85% of the time it's a breeze. You walk in, you introduce yourself, you give the instruction, they get to work, that's that, no problems. But about 15% of the time, there are students who have given me some problems. Now, think back to when you were in school, or if you still are in school. You remember when you walk in and you see a substitute teacher and everyone is just like, yes, there's a sub, there's no work today, it's going to be chill class. And like, you remember those students who would just really pick at the sub's patience. And even now, like most of the times when I'm subbing and I'm sitting in the classroom and students are coming in for the next class, I always hear them in the hallway. They kind of peek in and they're like, ooh, we have a sub. And so it's kind of just that idea that just because there's a sub means you can act up, that you're not going to have any work to do, and that it's just going to be a free-for-all class. And so there have been a couple of instances where I have had students be super disrespectful, talking back, not following directions. I even had one student stand up and yell at me in my face. And so I would say that these instances aren't often, but of course in education they do happen. And so being a sub, you should definitely be prepared for those students who will act out, and also don't take any of it personally. So you don't know if they had a bad day, if there's something going on at home, or what their situation is. And at the end of the day, you're just here for an hour or an hour and a half, and then you're going to move on with your life and go sub at a different school in a different classroom of different students. And so it's not worth taking it personal or really just letting it get to you, because you don't know like the entire situation of that student, and you're only here for one day. You don't have to see them every single day for 2 semesters. So I would just say be prepared to have some students act out because you're not their normal teacher, and just don't take it personal. On the flip side of kids who are disruptive or disrespectful, there are lots of kids who are just genuinely nice that really make your day when you come across them. And so earlier today I was subbing, and I had a kid at the end of class when she was leaving tell me, "Thank you for teaching us." Girl, I pressed play on a video and passed out worksheets. I didn't teach anything. But the little things like that just make you see that there are some really great kids out there, and some kids will even just start talking to you and just opening up about problems or just about life in general. I think it was my second week of subbing. I just had some girl and we just started talking, and it got really deep until her telling me about her mom being an alcoholic and how she would forget to take her to school, which led to her having like absence failed this class. And it just got super deep, and I only knew this girl for an hour and a half. And so sometimes it just shows that like those small conversations or small connections with students can really help them, but it also really helps me just to kind of see like what these kids are going through. And so that video was probably all over the place, but basically that is what my experience subbing has been like. And so actually through subbing, I discovered that I want to be a teacher. And so I was at a point where I really didn't know what I wanted to do career-wise. And subbing actually showed me that I would love to be a teacher. And so currently it's a new school year. It's August, school year just started, and I'm subbing again while I work on getting certified to be a teacher. And so high school English/journalism teacher coming at you soon in a couple of months. But overall, I would say subbing has been a great experience. It's been challenging, but also overall it's a very, I would say, relaxed job. It's super fun to get to go to school, and every day is a new day, different students, different subject, different school, different grade levels even. So overall, I definitely am so happy that I decided to sub, and I am so excited to be a teacher. So I do plan on having more videos about my experience subbing, and eventually this will be a how I became a teacher / teaching playlist that can go along with this. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe down below, give this video a thumbs up, and hit that bell notification if you want to see some of my future videos. I plan on talking about questions students ask me as a sub, having more story times about specific things that have happened in the classroom, such as a kid standing up and yelling in my face on my second day of subbing. So if you want to see that, then stay notified down below, and I will see you guys soon. Bye y'all.